Skilled recruiting and player development are two key factors for success at any college program. Last season, the strides made by one particular Zag caught the nation's attention. And now the man who had a hand in that player's progress has become instrumental in bringing more talent to the GU campus.
With the 13th pick in the 2013 NBA draft, Kelly Olynyk from Gonzaga University.
There was no proven blueprint to follow in the transformation of Kelly Olynyk. From a shapeless drifter to a chiseled force, anomaly to All-American.
Oh, I was so happy for him. I mean, we know how much work he put in. We know how much before the media came into the picture, how much he had done and what he had gone through.
Gonzaga strength and conditioning coach Travis Knight became a prominent supporting character in Olynyk's popular story, largely due to all the credit given to him by the Gonzaga star.
So Kelly was really gracious that he was telling people that our work together did a lot of it, you know, because I didn't lift any weights for him or do anything, you know.
He did, though, have the vision.
He had spent 2 years with me doing traditional stuff, and I knew that another year of that same thing wasn't going to work. And so we really had nowhere else to go but to be non-traditional.
That tailored approach and the dramatic outcome had an unintended result.
Seeing him do it, it was very influential on my decision to come here.
Make sure you're staying light on your toes.
Kyle Wiltshire was a high school All-American out of Portland who opted for John Calipari in Kentucky over, among others, Gonzaga. He won a national championship with the Wildcats, but wasn't reaching his potential. After 2 seasons, he, like Olynyk, realized
a year working hard would be really beneficial for my game.
Good. Where are your shoulders at? Keep them square to the wall.
That and a change of scenery. On the heels of Olynyk's big year, the Zags were again on Wiltshire's radar. In July, when he announced his decision, there was no mistaking the motivation.
You see a place and they have a track record of redshirting guys and really just developing them as players. It's really enticing for me.
Drop the inside shoulder.
Travis Knight was part of the draw, and Wiltshire wasn't the only one looking forward to the partnership.
I changed my training with Kelly so much that I was very excited to try to do it with another individual like Kyle. You don't get a situation like that very often, so when it popped its head up, it seemed like it was kind of meant to be.
In late August, not long after the 6'10" forward arrived on campus, the duo went to work on building a better Zag.
In the first 2 months was really overwhelming. There were so many things that he wasn't doing right and needed to get better at.
We're kind of experimenting things, and some things work and some things don't.
Now 5 months in, work is the constant. Everything else from targets to tactics depends on the day.
It's extremely unique.
Which is saying something, coming from a player with previous trainers and 2 seasons at one of the nation's premier programs.
I come every day and it's like you always find something new to throw at you.
He needs to be lighter on his feet, getting used to fighting through contact.
Just my athleticism in general, just my strength and my body composition, just changing it so I can become stronger and quicker.
You know, flexibility doesn't come easy. Overcome resistance and be strong.
Hopefully my rebounding improves and my defense, so
don't favor one side.
It's challenging in all sorts of areas that I've never been challenged before in.
Knight has 8 more months to finish his latest project.
I haven't even been here that long, and it's really just, it's felt like I've progressed already a lot.
8 more months to spot and shred every soft spot.
You have to remember what you've accomplished in spite of all this. Think about how much better you're going to be when this is no longer an issue.
The precedent was set by an unforeseeable transformation. Now the hope is this time, the end result is far more predictable.
Even though this year's a tough one, it's still fun coming every day, just knowing I'm getting better.
Kyle and Travis still have a ways to go. They won't be done until full team practice starts in October. Then, about a month later, Wiltshire will make his Gonzaga debut. Reporting in the studio, Darnay Tripp, KREM 2 Sports. Gonzaga women's basketball coaches Lisa and Craig Fortier are living a storybook romance. They met in high school and found love in college. In the years that followed, the pair watched their family grow in step with their careers. One thing remained, their passion for a sport shared through it all, but now more than ever. Basketball is just a game, right? But what if you met your spouse because of basketball?
Well, I was a baller, so it had to be.
Right, of course.
If it was how you got to know one another, A night in the gym was your night at the movies.
We would go until you made a certain amount, and you just took forever to make a certain amount. So
we all know that's inaccurate. So
the soundtrack of your life, orchestrated by rubber soles and hardwood floors, from state to state and job to job.
And we had each other, and we were in the honeymoon phase.
For Lisa and Craig Fortier, basketball is more than a game. Is it their life?
Well, you can ask them.
Well, there are 2 and soon to be 3 reasons why that may not entirely be the case, but it is awfully close.
They don't count sheep. They hear basketballs bouncing. Yeah.
Lisa Fortier has 2 teams, one at Gonzaga and one at home, with 4-year-old Marcus, 2-year-old Calvin, and a daughter on the way. In both cases, she is in charge. Just ask Marcus.
He's been calling me the boss coach lately.
I try to stay out of the way as much as I can. I help when I can, but she's doing the lion's share of it.
You're helpful.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I try not to be a speed bump.
You can bet that is especially the case these days.
It was awesome. It was such a great feeling. It was a little bit overwhelming.
Near the top of the seemingly endless to-do list that followed her promotion to Zag's women's head coach was a task of hiring assistants, with one logical option in her shadow. When did you start discussing the possibility of bringing him along?
Probably in like 2004. I've always just said, I'm gonna convince you to do it. You're gonna be the best I can afford at wherever we are.
That offer came on the heels of Craig's 3rd season as an assistant at Eastern Washington under men's head coach Jim Hayford.
Professionally, this amazing opportunity, everything that's there, her dream fulfilled of being a head coach at an amazing place, and man, how can I not, jump in with both feet?
You want to hire the best coaches you can find, and he's a great recruiter. He's great on the court. He can do what he's supposed to do.
And Lisa will waste little time making sure that's the case.
Well, I know the first thing she said to me was, your old boss used to let you stand up way more than I'm going to let you stand up on the...
That's true. Coach Hayford didn't tell you to sit back down.
But maybe I had good things to say. That's
I'm
possible.
sure you did. And then you'll have time to say those in the huddle, and then you can go back to your seat.
Yeah.
You ready?
Ready?
Go.
Lisa is calling the shots, and that's fine by Craig, who has willingly put his own career aspirations on the shelf in order to excel at his primary responsibilities.
How can I be a good dad, good at my job, and also, the relationship I have with my wife, how can all those things be at maybe the highest level?
Good Dad.
With a 3rd child on the way, you just have a different perspective on those types of things.
Which leads us to that other game changer.
I think it's going to kind of turn things upside down here. It's never going to be clean in our house and those kind of things, but we just figure it out.
So far, that has taken some creativity. On top of being regulars at games, Marcus and Calvin have met recruits, played around at camps, and spent their share of time on the road.
And they have frequent flyer cards, both of them, and they have gotten free trips because they've accrued so many miles.
That wasn't a joke, you're serious.
I'm serious.
Wow. And they don't expect to change up the game plan too much once their daughter arrives in July.
People say, well, how are you going to be a mom and a coach? That doesn't work. Or how are you going to be a mom and a head coach? It doesn't work. And I just laugh and say, yeah, it does. It doesn't look all clean and pretty and nice all the time, but most of the time you can just make it work.
Steve Gleason's impact was apparent during the game when he received a loud ovation as he was inducted into the Washington State Hall of Fame. But a couple hours prior, he had the full attention of a much smaller group. Gleason delivered a pregame message to the Cougars at the Apple Cup, the impact of which was apparent on the players and their coach.
Thanks, Coach, and thank you guys for having me.
Nothing was ordinary about this pregame speech. From the content of the message to the way it was delivered. Because of that, Steve Gleason's words have been heard loud and clear for nearly 4 years, and were again on Saturday.
Just a pretty emotional experience.
That was pretty awesome.
I love Steve Gleason, what he's about, and how he's a fighter.
I mean, that guy has been through so much, and he just never surrenders, and he just values life so much.
Almost 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with ALS. Not long afterwards, I came to speak to the team here in Pullman.
Since that day in November of 2011, Steve has lived through incredible tragedy and undeniable triumph. He has viewed obstacles from a different perspective, shared his weakness with the world, prepared himself for every step of his challenge, all with an unshakable poise, inspiring confidence in those who share his struggle.
I learned this winning formula sitting in the same chairs you are sitting in now. Taking this formula to my ALS diagnosis has borne extraordinary results.
Daily victories around him and within him in the face of incredible opposition.
The experts might say my play clock is ticking, but I have no intention of fading away.
To do so would be tragic. Though he is no longer capable of speaking his words, his message is enormously influential to those within earshot.
It just makes me want to just go out there and give that extra effort for someone that wants to still wish they could be in our shoes and still wants to feel like a kid again.
We got to go play a football game tonight. He's not going to be able to, but he's got a great spirit.
Even with his affliction, he's continued to develop in a huge way, which I mean, it's just an incredible example to everybody.
I now have a calming sense of certainty. I plan to be here for decades. I believe life is much bigger than football, but your formula for tonight is the same.
His words and his approach are as relatable as his experiences are unique, lending perspective in sports, a place where it is often in short supply.
It makes you kind of look back on, what you appreciate and all the blessings in your life and how blessed you are.
It reflects on all the great things he has to be thankful for. So, I think all of us have plenty to be thankful for too.
We love Steve Gleason.
He's a man.
You are prepared, not only to fight, but to win. Thank you for having me. Have fun tonight. No white flags.
As he said, it's not all about winning, but linebacker Peyton Pallure admitted to being a little bummed out they didn't get that result to the Cougar great. Reporting live, Darnay Tripp, Crim 2 Sports.
Gosh, as powerful as that just was on TV, I can only imagine what it was like in person.
To hear the crowd roar when he came out was pretty unbelievable.
That's cool. All right, Darnay, thanks very much.